Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We've had a little bit of an astonishing admission. The Saturday Girl has said that Rishi Sunak is not to blame for the climate change failures of the SNP. I think, firstly, it's an amazing thing that she's even admitted that it's partially their fault. But also, I think it's the first time they've ever admitted anything isn't Westminster's fault. Now, to be fair, she hasn't exonerated him because she said it's not totally his fault. So, still blaming him for some of it, and you have to wonder why. But which we will look at. But also the very fact that she's taking some of the blame for the SNP. It's astonishing. But then I think the trouble with the Saturday Girl is she's not well versed in the ways of the SNP totally yet. She's not been totally corrupted, no matter how many hotel rooms she spends in Dubai with the faithful leader. But we'll have a look at this to see why she has, let's just say, cocked up, not in the good way, and admitted that it isn't Westminster's fault. It's astonishing. I don't think I've ever seen it before. Here goes. So what a headline. Mairi McAllan admits that Rishi Sunak is not fully to blame for the SNP's criticised delay of climate change plan. Not fully to blame. So admitting that some of it is their fault. But they're still going to pass a lot of the buck on to Westminster because, why not? It is their go-to defence, isn't it? 9 times out of 10, if something goes wrong, we'll blame Westminster. And the other time, they'll blame the people. It's never, ever their fault because they are wonderful and perfect and they get everything right every time. It's just that everyone else lets them down or something. Anyway, the Scottish Government were quick to blame Westminster and the Prime Minister for torpedoing the publication of its climate change plan, but privately admitted they have been very challenging to do it anyway. These plans are moronic, but fortunately you have a moron in charge of them. I have to wonder why she was so massively over promoted. She took on she got her own portfolio, and then she took on Neil Gray's when he was made up as Health Secretary. And boy, is that going to be a failure. But why not put in a new minister? Why not replace Neil Gray rather than dump everything Gray was doing on her? It either means she's not doing enough in her job and she's not busy enough there that she's able to take this on, or that Gray's portfolio is so small that it can be easily handled by her. Which begs the question, why did he have that portfolio in the first place? If it was so small, it was only literally a part-time job. Why was he being paid $120,000 a year to do it? Also, if he's someone who's never had a major role like health and only had this tiny portfolio where it's easily handed over to the Saturday Girl, why would you promote him into such a massive department? It all goes to show that Humza Yousaf hasn't got a clue, has he? He's just rewarding his chums. That's all this is. It's promotion by dint of being a lickspittle and an obsequious little toady. Nothing to do with ability, experience, knowledge, or anything like that. And we all know why she, obviously, keeps getting all this high-profile stuff. And again, nothing to do with ability. Everything to do with flight schedules. Anyway, the Scottish Government's Net Zero Secretary was forced to privately admit that Rishi Sunak was not fully to blame for its failure to publish a climate change plan at the end of last year. He wasn't to blame at all. If you want to publish, you publish. What, was he standing there stopping you from publishing it? No, I don't think so. Don't think so at all. And remember, it wasn't Rishi Sunak who pulled the plug on the bottle deposit return scheme. That, of course, was down to Jeffrey. It's all bollocks, isn't it? Anyway, Mairi McAllan publicly attacked Westminster for changing rules around car sales and fossil fuel boilers and claimed this is why SNP ministers would be unable to set out proposals to cut out carbon emissions. Hold on a minute, because car sales and fossil fuel boilers is something that you can do. You are the ones who say, the UK said it's going to be 2035 for this and 2040 for that. And we want to do it quicker. Well, you do it quicker. But of course, you know what will happen. The moment you can't sell a car in Scotland, everyone will go down to the south. There'll be a car dealer in Carlisle going, hey, baby, I'm going to make a fortune. Because, morons. And if you think gas boilers aren't going to continue to be put in, again, morons. Gas boilers will continue to be built and people will continue to buy them. They may not be going into new homes, but they'll be going into homes which already got them. Because A, people can't afford the £35,000 to put a heat pump in, and B, people don't want to spend the £35,000 to put the heat pump in because they're rubbish. Anyway, it was questioned by the UK Climate Change Committee watchdog, with Chairman Chris Stark claiming he was unsure why the delays announced by the UK government would affect Scotland. He says, not sure why PM's September speech, Rishi Sunak's September speech on net zero would require delay by the Scottish government. We looked at it in detail, he says. The biggest policy changes were about English buildings, not aware of anything in the King's speech that would require a delay to the Scottish plan. No, but what they've got is they've made it so bad, they know they're delayed, they know they can't do it, and then instead of blaming themselves for such an appallingly stupid idea, they're looking to pass the buck, blame someone else. It's the SNP way. It's never their fault. And so they go, oh, well, look, he said something in the King's speech. He said something. Oh, look, he said something. Nothing. It's got nothing to do with Scotland. It's English buildings, not Scottish buildings. Scottish Parliament's responsible for Scottish buildings. Why should what goes on in England be a matter for the Scottish Parliament to delay when on a devolved matter? No, but it's nothing at all. It's all to do with blame. Anyway, Rishi Sunak announced a number of proposals in his speech where he rolled back significantly on previous pledges on net zero, because he now knows that net zero is a load of old bollocks. It won't happen. This included moving the delay to the deadline for phasing out the new sale of petrol and diesel cars from 2030 to 2035, in line with that of other European countries. Those vehicles still allowed to be sold second-hand after that date. So what will happen is, in 2034, there'll be a massive boost in sales of petrol and diesel engines. Trust me, car dealers are already gearing up for this, because they know that people will buy lots and lots and lots of lovely petrol and diesel cars, which are good for the planet, and then they'll keep them running for as long as they possibly can. Now, for me, if I can buy a car in 2034, so you're talking 10 years from now, I'll be 67. If I can run it another 10, 15 years after that, that'll see me out. I don't mind driving a 15-year-old Mercedes S-Class, perhaps. 6.3 litre. Just something like that. Just deliberately to annoy everyone. Because, of course, it's better for the planet. Better, certainly, than digging up all that toxic stuff, refining all that toxic stuff, and then when the batteries run out, having to work out what we're going to do with all that toxic stuff. And also, and I maintain this, and still, it's been a year of asking, nobody has told me what we're going to do with the petrol. Because when you crack all that oil, that petrol is still going to be made. What are you going to do with it? Can't burn it. Can't let it evaporate. That's even worse for the environment than burning it. If only there was some device that you could use and you could get rid of the petrol by using it in a way that created something and did some good. These people are utter morons. All that toxin. You know that nobody's worked out what to do with the batteries yet. This is brilliant. All those electric cars, all these batteries filled with toxic materials. You can't put them in the ground. They'll leach. They'll kill everything. They're so toxic. Nobody's worked out what we're going to do with the batteries. It's like nuclear waste. Anyway, the Scottish Government claimed it would not follow suit. We're talking about the cars here. But are now considering this topic due to cross-border issues. The cross-border issues being, if you ban it in Scotland, everyone just go down south. Need a new gas boiler, mate? Yeah, there you go. Thanks, mate. Whee, back up to Scotland. Plug new gas boiler in. I've also said to my wife that come 2034, when they ban gas boilers, I'm going to buy two. I'm going to buy one as the replacement. We're going to next one whenever it's that one lasts. The next gas boiler I buy, I'm buying two. So when we put the new one in, that's fine, and I keep one in a box spare, and we keep that, because when that one lasts, boom, we got one in. Because if they stop selling them, that's fine. But if we got a spare one, in it goes, and that again will see me out. After that, don't care. Anyway, Mr. Sutton, you can all freeze. You can all sit there and die of, Legionnaire's disease with your heat pump water, which isn't hot enough to kill anything. But I'll already be gratefully dead, and I won't care. My ghost will laugh. as I wander through your house at midnight. Anyway, Mr. Sunak's announcements infuriated the SNP, but was advantageous in one way, as it allowed them to blame a delay on the climate change plan on this. Why? If you want to ban cars in 2033, you can ban cars in 2033. Oh, yes, but people will buy cars in 2033 because, they can go south to England. Yeah, they can. Sorry, don't see the problem here. You're the ones who, come up with these mad ideas. But hey, McAllan said at the time, while we're working to make our homes greener, you're not, and easier to heat, my arse, and reduce our reliance on petrol and diesel cars, you can't, the UK government is reneging on its own commitments, creating huge uncertainty for business and households. No, making huge certainty for business and households. Everyone now knows that the whole of Europe is going, can't buy proper cars from 2035. It's only Scotland that wants to go do different. Who knows? Surely if Scotland was so enamoured with the EU, it would take the EU date, but it isn't. Obviously doesn't want to join the EU. Anyway, in letters to stakeholders seen by the Scottish Daily Express, she admits that it would have been very challenging for the proposals to be published anyway due to financial difficulties. This was not expressed publicly when she told the MSPs at Holyrood about the delay. Haven't got the cash to publish it, love, because you're skint, because you've spent it all, and none of it's ever going to happen. If you think in 2035 you're not going to be able to buy a petrol car new from a dealer, think again. It'll be pushed back, and it'll be pushed back, and it'll be pushed back. Already, electric car sales are falling because people have driven them, and they've realised, ooh, this is shit. Coming up. So the old Saturday girl has realised, finally, that things are not as they seem, and it is not Westminster's fault that the SNP are a bunch of incompetent fools who have no idea what they're doing. Nice. If only she can turn her eye inwardly again and see all the other problems caused by themselves and not other people, that'd be great. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Do please hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. I will speak to you later. Bye.